if you're a transphobe and you're watching and you think that this is like undecided science, this is like the world being round. You're a flat earther. You're on the absolute far edge of dumb conspiracy science.
Mm-hmm.
Every organization, including the ones that literally go over how psychology should be practiced in the United States, not to mention psychiatry, counseling, social work, all of them clearly outline that not only do binary trans identities exist, but non-binary ones. It's fine to be sad. It's not okay to fall into despair and give up. That is what they want you to do. Hey everyone. So, there's a thing that happened a couple days ago, and I really hate to keep bitching about Twitter, but Twitter did the thing that does best and had some of the worst takes about it humanly possible. Now, Mom has gone out of her way, as Ren has as well, to not watch the fullness of this. We have not watched the full episode of this, nor the clips. We've only seen bits and pieces. We're going to watch both of these clips with stream, pause them occasionally to make commentary, and then we're going to go through and talk about it, because there's some issues here. So let's get started. For those of you out there, you probably know a gentleman by the name of Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart is the former host of The Daily Show, was on it for quite some time, and is a well-known activist. He was instrumental in making sure that the firefighters of 9/11 got the medical care they necessitated. And yeah, he genuinely seems to be a guy who is on the right side of things most of the time. Has he had some very lib takes? Absolutely. Has he had some very transphobic takes in the past? Yeah. Has he done some things that, like, recently, that last year that weren't great, like back Dave Chappelle? Yes. It seems though that's changed. And so let's look at it. All right? So this is his show, The Problem with Jon Stewart. By the way, a great name. And we're going to watch this on Twitter because I don't want to get fucked. But let's watch both of these, and let's see what we can take from them.
We are in a new dawn of gender and sex complexity, where those who don't fit into a simple binary are meant to be seen with humanity. It wasn't always like this, people. As recently as, let's say, the 1990s, early 2000s, people were making shitty, reductive jokes about the subject. What can I say? The joke rhymed. And shitty and reductive jokes are kind of my brand. But as we know from history, any moment of progressive visibility will be met with a vicious backlash.
There are two genders.
There are two genders, and everyone knows it.
Ain't but two genders.
That last guy sounded like it's an emergency and we're running out of genders. Everyone, there ain't but two genders. I don't want to have to start rationing genders. The point is clear. The human race is defined by a simple...
So, real quick, before we let it go on, I just want to be really clear. People said this in chat, I agree. I actually really think it's good that he called out his past behavior, because this is something that has been a large count against him for a long time, which is that he has had very, very transphobic things said in the past. To call them out in this format, I think, is one of the best ways to do it. Rather than doing like an apology video or some other kind of thing, like he puts out a tweet, something that's stupid. It is nice to see him call himself out for this. Now, we still have to owe the fact that, Last Week Tonight did trans rights before anybody else. Let's be very clear. I've got to give him credit for that. But
hey, no, I think it's a great way to go about it. Calling yourself out on your own show, like, no, that takes guts.
Yeah, no, the cake or gender, cake or death. Yes, let's go.
Simple binary, a black and white understanding. There are men and there are women, and never the twain shall meet.
Trump is an alpha male.
Well, okay, yes, there are obviously men who are more man than other men, but that's an aberration.
Beta, gamma.
Okay, There's an entire Greek alphabet, a continuum of masculinity. But that doesn't mean cuck.
Pajama boy, soy boy.
Girly man.
I hope the children are out of the room. Clearly, masculinity appears to be on a dimmer, not an on-off switch, but ladies are different.
I was a big tomboy.
These purple-haired angry freaks.
Rabid feminist.
Cat lady.
High rolling bimbos.
Pretty girly girl.
My God, what a cruise line buffet of the gradients in American gender expression. Turns out there's a lot of non-binary shit happening between the binaries. But that hasn't stopped the traditionalists from deploying their newest weapon in the culture war arsenal, the obvious gotcha question.
The real basic question, what is a woman?
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
For all of recorded history, people have known what a woman is.
Yes! All of recorded history! It was simple. Until like a year ago. The answer to what is a woman has always been the same. It's
Woman was thus a deformity, but one which occurred in the ordinary course of nature. Oh, God. I just wanted to bring up the fact that the Greeks literally thought that, like, women were housing stations for children and they had no part of the actual, the actual birthing process. I just want to be really fucking clear. God, I want to watch the whole episode. We can't do that. That is copyright. I know this is going to get hit with copyright already. So let's keep going.
a woman is a deformity that occurred in the ordinary course of nature. I'm sorry, that's Aristotle. I apologize. I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. I meant a woman is a person who has no legal existence once married. I'm sorry, that's early American coverture law. That's not right. No, throughout history, it's not a gotcha question. A woman is 30 shekels. I'm sorry, that's Leviticus. Unless she's whorish, then a woman is a loaf of bread. That's Proverbs. Yes. It turns out, for most of recorded history, women were just defined by whatever men had in their wallet that day. Perhaps it takes a woman to answer this obvious question that progressives continue to dance around.
I'm going to tell you right now, what is a woman? This is an easy answer. We're a creation of God. We came from Adam's rib.
All right, well, I think I still have some questions.
All right, so that was a banger. And let's talk about the tweet that goes over. So we got to talk about, first off, this is Aaron Reed, Aaron Reed, Aaron in the Morn. Follow her on Twitter. She's fucking amazing. She's an activist, mom, very queer researcher, does very cool stuff. And again, this is the proper take. There were so many powerful moments in Jon Stewart's special on trans people, but where Jon tells the Arkansas AG Rutledge that he would go through hell and high water if he had a trans kid, and that her law was antithetical to the values she professed to espouse, I cried. This is the right answer in every situation.
We're going to allow these children to be children. And as they are, we want to, again, encourage them to have the access to the mental health care, because none of us can imagine, whether it's my daughter, your daughter, your son, any of us can imagine having those conversations.
If my daughter or my son came to me in agony and I knew there was a program that I could get them into that had positive effects on their mental health, I would swim across rivers and climb mountains and tunnel through whatever I needed to get to save that child's life. And my guess is you'd do the same. And I truly hope you're never faced with that decision, because I imagine it's agonizing for the parent.
Yes.
And it's agonizing for the child. But the fact that you've removed that option for people seems antithetical to the values you profess to espouse.
Wow, did you watch her?
Damn.
Did you watch her get fucking BTFO'd just now? Because I did. Let's go there and let's look at this. Thank you, Kira. A woman is 30 shekels. I mean, let's go. Let's check this out. So I want to be clear. You guys probably already guessed the joke. A lot of Twitter thought this was bad. The answer on this was that essentially, how dare a cis man speak up on our behalf? This line of thinking is bad and should be shot out of a cannon filled with confetti in roadblocks.
Well, and I'll be a little bit more gentle, I think. Because it seems like, to me, people are so used to being adversarial. But no, I'm big on intersectionalism. Like, that really is a thing that I value. So no, seeing this makes me really happy. Like, I don't care what gender the other person is. Seeing somebody show up like this, holy crap, is amazing. And we'll get into more of the people that, he's been working with too, right? Like, we'll get into that. So, let's go.
Step in to override parents, physicians, psychiatrists, endocrinologists who have developed guidelines. Why would you override those guidelines?
Well, I think it's important that all of those physicians, all of those experts, for every single one of them, there's an expert that says we don't need to allow children to be able to take those medications. That there are many instances where...
But you know that's not true. You know it's not for everyone. There's one. These are the established...
Well, I don't know that's not true. I don't know that...
Then why would you pass a law then if you don't know that that's true? Wouldn't you?
Well, I know that there are doctors, and that we had plenty of people come and testify before our legislature who said that we have 98% of the young people who have gender dysphoria, that they are able to move past that, and once they have the help that they need, no longer suffer from gender dysphoria. 98%.
What?
That study she's citing is a bullshit study that is completely nonsensical. The questions on it were so vague and only asked about specifically any gender nonconforming behavior.
Also, notice how she framed it, right? Her framing was so
specific
that, like, you couldn't, but it made it sound like she was almost in the positive of, when they had the help that they needed, their dysphoria went away. Well, when we get trans people the treatment that they need, right?
Their dysphoria goes away too.
Yeah. And so it's kind of giving it a weird reframe, so, like, she's kind of giving herself an out that way to look like she's doing positive, even though she's not.
Wow.
Without that medical treatment.
That's an incredibly made-up figure. That doesn't comport with any of the studies or documentation that exists from these medical organizations. What medical association are you talking about of these doctors?
Well, we have all of that in our legislative history, and we'll be glad to provide that to you. I don't have the name of that off the top of my head. I know it's something that...
You don't have the name of the organization? That
off the top of my head.
Oh, okay.
But yes, we have all of that cited in all of our briefs.
You're suggesting that protecting children means overriding the recommendations of the American Medical Association, the American Association of Pediatrics, the Endocrine Society.
We don't have enough.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we can just name off organizations right now if you want.
And again, I don't want to do necessarily like the just because experts say so thing. But again, this is a plurality of data. If you're a transphobe and you're watching and you think that this is like undecided science, this is like the world being round. You're a flat earther. You're on the absolute far edge of dumb fucking conspiracy science. Every organization, including the ones that literally go over how psychology should be practiced in the United States, not to mention psychiatry, counseling, social work, all of them clearly outline that not only do binary trans identities exist, but non-binary ones. And they allow for almost every variation of gender to exist. My gender, as someone who identifies as someone who's both a non-binary trans woman and also in queer circles, xenogender, the fact of the matter is, that's valid. That is allowed by APA standards. That is allowed by the other APA standards. There's no reason my gender is not acceptable. It's only unacceptable to cretins and Neanderthals who don't know better.
enough data. We don't have enough to show that these drugs are effective and that these children are better off. That we should encourage these.
Or it's not enough for you. Let me try and flip it a different way and see if maybe this can help. In Arkansas, if you have pediatric cancer, and obviously we all want to protect children, I think we established that earlier. Whose guidelines do you follow for pediatric cancer?
Well, I think if my child, who is 4, if I was faced with that terrible decision, then I would be speaking to my doctor. And if my doctor recommended something that I disagreed with, then I would get a second opinion. And that's what I believe that these parents need to make sure that they're encouraged to get numerous opinions when they're talking about an irreversible step.
You're not letting them. The state's not saying, get another opinion. What they're saying is, you can't. What you're actually saying is the opposite. No, that's actually
not at all what the state said. The state simply said that you cannot perform these procedures, and so parents should get another opinion, and children should want to have another opinion.
But that's not...
Because again, these are 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds.
So if your child is suffering from pediatric cancer, and the state comes in and says to you, they recommend chemotherapy, but we're not going to let you do that. You can't. We think you should get a different opinion, and here's the organization we think you should get the opinion from. They're not the mainstream, but they're an organization. So that's who you have to be treated by. Does that sound like something you would accept?
I think that's a very extreme example. That's not at all in line with what we're talking about. We're not saying that at some point, because when you have cancer, it literally is, and particularly pediatric cancer, and having friends that have lost children to pediatric cancer, having a 4-year-old, I'm sure.
I've got some bad news for you. Parents with children who have gender dysphoria have lost children to suicide and depression.
They absolutely
because it's acute. And so these mainstream medical organizations have developed guidelines through peer-reviewed data and studies. And through those guidelines, they've improved mental health outcomes. So I'm confused why you follow AMA guidelines and AAAP guidelines for all other health issues than Arkansas, because we checked, but not for this.
It's simply saying, let those young people who are facing gender...
It's saying we want those kids dead.
Yep.
Do I have to bring up the meme where it's Archer saying, do you want dead kids? Because that's how we get dead kids. Because that's what this is. Let's let these kids have a regular childhood. Let me be clear. Any kid with gender dysphoria does not have a regular childhood. I did not have a regular childhood. Zena did not have a regular fucking childhood. None of you in chat had a regular fucking childhood. Even if you didn't know, even if you absolutely, there was no signs, knew there was something off. You knew there was something was dissonant. There was always a way in which you weren't quite right according to what these people fucking said you were. Remember, according to some of these people, marrying at 16 and getting knocked up then is absolutely a regular childhood, a la fucking Matt Walsh. I'm not going to trust this chick or any other part of her fucking Nazi-esque party to actually make decisions about what is a regular childhood, because I've seen where that path leads.
Well, and I will say, when she goes, that's an extreme example, she's right. It is. But so is her policy. Her policy is absolutely that extreme.
Yeah, no, these people are literally like, no, let me be really clear. Conservatives are groomers, at least the politicians. And by definition, these people are so concerned with trans people because we're the easiest marginalized group to attack right now, because they can't do it to black people anymore. They can't really do, at least not directly. They can't do it to necessarily gay people directly as much, because that fucks them in the votes. So they go after trans people because they know it will actually at least win them some votes. We are just politically advantageous. This is what makes their cruelty so utterly deplorable. Because it's not only a hatred of being trans, it's not only an absolute desire to maintain status quo, it is also, to be very clear, just for their advantage to try to win elections that they're already trying to stack the deck in.
Confusion and dysphoria. Allow them to become adults and to make that decision. Allow a child to be a child.
So here's where we have our crossroads. You've made the determination that protecting these children means not giving them access to the guidelines and care that have been designed by medical and mental health professionals for children expressing gender dysphoria. And I'm asking you again, what are your qualifications to step in and say, no, keeping you from that care is protecting you. You've made that determination.
Well, these are irreversible decisions that these children...
No, they're not. Let's be very clear. We've gone over this on stream so many times. I get tired of fucking spitting it out. Puberty blockers are reversible in every case. In every fucking case. If you take a kid off puberty blockers at 15, that kid will go through a regular puberty. There are only extreme examples where this has not been the case, but fact of the matter is, in every case, as far as we can tell, this is a fucking thing. There has never been a case where a child has ever gotten any type of gender-affirming surgery. That means, except for the ones that are done at infancy for intersex people. Excuse me, I should fucking clarify. We allow for those because if a kid's fucking parts don't actually match the fucking diagram of dick vagina, then we absolutely do gender-affirming care. But it's gender-affirming for the parents, not for the kid.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
We got to make sure the parents don't deal with gender dysphoria. For the love of God, please help these parents from having a child that might actually, be who they are.
Mm-hmm.
The fact of the matter is these people do not care. And if you can justify in any way, shape, or form not allowing these procedures, not allowing things like hormone blockers or, again, later in adolescence, specifically hormones, you are doing harm. You are doing harm. Surgery is a thing for adults. There's never been a case except for back alley fucking med docs like out of Shadowrun. Every time you find a detransitioner, it's like, I was 16 and I had my tits lopped off because I went to this doctor. It's always back alley fucking doctors who did it for fucking cash or some shit.
I also really like watching this because as he's interviewing her and asking her questions, she's in a position where she can't necessarily just lie as much as otherwise. Because no, she doesn't have the credentials and she knows it. She doesn't have the credentials to make medical decisions. She's got nothing. All she's got is, it's irreversible. Okay, 1, bullshit. But 2, you don't have any education to say that you can make this decision.
Yep. Can I ask a favor of chat real quick? Can someone find me the image from Twitter of all of the experts that helped them with this episode? It's actually quite enlightening. There's 2 names on there I really want to point out.
And at these young ages are making, or that their parents are making.
They're not making the decision. You're making it sound like a 9-year-old walks into a doctor's office and says, give me some testosterone. And the doctor goes, oh, thank God, because we're wanting to create an army of transgenders because we're crazy. And they go right in
No, we passed a law to protect the children in Arkansas, and I think that's what is important.
Again, the medical community disagrees with you that that's protecting
not all of the
children.
medical community.
Who doesn't?
We have had experts testify here in Arkansas.
Okay, from what medical organizations?
Well, we have all of those in our briefs, and I apologize that I wasn't prepared to have a Supreme Court argument today in front of you, but we are going to have arguments on this case when the time comes.
God, that was great. Can I tell you?
Can we all just get can we get hypers in chat for fucking Jon Stewart? Hypers in fucking chat for Jon Stewart, for that fucking dunk. Can we please? Can we please?
Well, and I really actually love that it is Jon Stewart in this position doing this kind of work. Because especially when we're talking about trans kids, this is the stuff that we need the parents to see. We don't really, when kids come out as trans, they know they're trans, cool, right? They're golden. But when parents are lost and confused and being told all sorts of different things, no. I want them to see him arguing on behalf of their kids. I want them to see him tearing apart the arguments and going, no, wait, and questioning where the actual data is and what's actually appropriate to be done for medical care. He's a fantastic example of what I want parents to see and emulate when they're dealing with these kinds of things. I want more parents to act like he is and be no, what actually is proper? Let's actually talk to doctors that are actual professionals in this field and actually have an idea of what we're doing.
All right, so why did we need to watch these? Well, 1, they're based, but 2, Mom and Ren are mad. I'm going to make this really clear. This is going to be the seminal response on my Dear Sage's page explaining where I see an issue. Now, you guys, can you guys find, I want this like a Where's Waldo. Can you find the issue with this tweet? Oh, it's too big. Here, I'll make it smaller. There we go. Let's zoom in so you can see the stupid, and you tell me where the problem is. Here, I'll even brighten it for you. There. I'll even brighten it for you. Can you tell me where this is? Also, Sage's take is literally based here. Just be very clear. Breaker summed it up pretty good.
Bitching about wins.
Bitching about wins. This is what this comes down to. It's bitching about wins. The reality of the situation here, kind of tangential, but this is great for people who think debate content is useless in public discourse, because look how terrible she looked. Abso-fucking-lutely. Prickly Dario.
Yeah.
Can you say that again for the people in the back? Because that's fucking amazing. Kind of tangential, but this is great for the people that think debate content is useless in public discourse, because wow, did she look horrible in this. Fucking true.
No, the amount of prep work to go in and be able to handle all of those arguments, to be able to cut in with really solid examples was amazing and brilliant. God, that took a lot of prep work and shit. Like, no, that wasn't just basic journalism.
And then also people...
basic journalism, my ass.
So people online are basically whining because there is this idea that, well, he's just a lib and this isn't going to change anything, because these people are fucking depressed. If you're going to make this argument, show it. How is this basic journalism? Or is this just a stupid tweet to get extra likes from the cynicism and the irony poisoned pilled crowd? I want you to look at something. Lisa Questions is based. Love her to death. She's fucking cool. At the end of the credits, the producers thank Nick Adams, Laverne Cox, Dr. Michelle Hutchinson, who I don't know. I don't know many of the people on this list, but this one I do know. Dr. Jack Turbin. All right? Now
I think I recognize this name too.
Alex Schmitter?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I want you to see something real quick. I'm gonna do some magic for you real quick. We're gonna go boop. We're gonna go. Probably shouldn't go to my thing there. Let's go to. Where is it? Dr. Jack Turbin. Let's do a quick search for Dr. Jack Turbin. Now, there's probably going to be people talking shit because you see Abigail Schreier doesn't like him. This is Dr. Jack Turbin. You'll notice, trans flag, based. We're above like based. Assistant professor of the University of California, San Francisco Psychiatry, University of California, San Francisco's IHPS, right? The Institute of Health Policy Studies, trans youth mental health researcher, opinions in the New York Times opinion piece. This person does fucking research. Look, this is his Psych Today article talking about the evidence for gender-affirming youth for children. I'm just going to share that on principle. Here's his cute dog.
That's him. I review them here for Psych Today.
Yeah.
Like, damn. He's
they
also
say there's
the
no
person that reviews it.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, there's a dog, baby. So like, but look at this. Like, this is one of the people they got. Dr. Jack Turbin is fucking awesome. This guy knows his shit. This guy, when these laws started getting pushed, came out fucking swinging. You'll notice when I looked up his name, you saw a whole bunch of red names in Shinigami. The reason for that is TERFs hate him. They fucking loathe him because he knows what he's talking about. He's also a queer person, which is cool.
Aztec was saying he also had the head of the Endocrine Society on their panel too. Yeah.
Cute boy with dog. I'm just saying, like this. How can you?
Here's him sharing.
This is hard to watch. It's rare to see GOP politicians discuss medical care for trans kids beyond the sound bites. Yeah, because they're utterly ignorant. Yeah. And then again, look at this man. This man is a fucking there for work purchases, child psychiatry. This guy's adorable in every conceivable way. This is like on my top 5 guys I might actually do things with. Let me be clear. I date this man. Yeah, right. So. When we talk about Jon Stewart only doing base level journalism, what we're really saying is we don't like winning. We don't ever want to just accept the W. I'm going to hit you guys with something that I think is a really hard truth, and you're really not going to like it. Every single person online right now who is making the claim that this is an evidence of some sort of issue within society because societally we have to have a cis man, a cis Jewish man, mind you, but a cis man come to our aid because they'll listen to him over us. To which my response is going to be, of course they're going to listen to him over us. That is literally how marginalization works, you fucking idiots. We need allies who actually come out like this. He is absolutely respected by the libs. For every lib out there who was on the fence about trans stuff, they see that video, we nudge them over. They come to our fucking aid.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Well, and not just that, like, having allies that are cis isn't a bad thing, right? Imagine every single trans kid going, oh shit, there's an adult standing up for us.
Oh.
Like, holy fuck. There's literally a chat in Discourse right now where a couple of people, myself included, are sharing about how growing up, basically queer stuff got taught to them as if it didn't exist, as if you were the only random queers, it was a recent thing that happened, and there was no history. Like, there were no adults to even look to at all. Or, when the discussions did happen, the adults around said that they were too much for you. Okay? But seriously, being a kid, seeing him coming to, like, defend your gender and everything, and, like, your rights for care, no, that's fucking massive. That's huge. God, we do not need to tear down somebody who can actually be, like, a fantastic role model and I don't know about role model, like, because I don't know all of Jon Stewart's work, but, like, still a fantastic person with a fantastic video to look to. Like, no, it felt good watching that. I felt amazing watching that. The kid in me that, like, would have loved to have some adult on my side, no, that kid is super happy in me.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I do want to finish my point, though.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I know some of you out there are really big, like, libertarian socialists or, like, anarchists, and good for you. You have a title. But here's my problem. If you want a classless, marginalist society where there is no issues whatsoever with anyone speaking over anyone or whatnot, great. That is the goal I want to. We are not in that world. To change the world, you must first accept it as it is. And I don't mean accept it as in just roll with it and say it's okay. But I mean at a very core level, you have to accept what you're fighting. And the fact of the matter is that this, by all rights, is good. The people who are being cynical and irony poisoned are doing a disservice, because this is how you shut down and irony poison fucking allies. Now, if Jon Stewart was going online and, let's say, trying to take over the movement, I would shut that shit down, because that's when cis people are talking over us. But this was done with the help of trans people and doctors who are trans allies, who have done the research. And to me, as Dead Space just said, it really does reek of the change that isn't good enough because it's not my way. Yeah, It reeks of the thing Contra talked about in Envy. Oh, we do not want marginal changes or good changes. We only want to see the coming of the rapture, I think it is, like the communist anarchist rapture. Progress is slow. Politics are an arduous thing that we are doing forever. Oh, Razel, thank you so much for the membership.
Yeah, thank you.
Too many leftists are black-pilled. We do not accept black pills in this community. Get them away from me. They're gross. I need you guys to not fall to the black pill. Do not fall to despair. Don't make me have to do the same argument Vosh did. It's the same thing, though. It's fine to be sad. It's not okay to fall into despair and give up. That is what they want you to do.
Mm-hmm.
And Dario's right. This is exactly why debate is important, because seeing that out there is going to have very real ramifications. That clip came out and fucking conservatives lost their shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because they knew that their lady looked god-awful in it. I have to be clear with you guys. Take your fucking W's. It's okay to look at them for what they are, but when you focus so much on their limitations, you don't see them for what they actually are.
Right? You're only getting the awful, horrendous negative and just skipping the positive, right?
Yeah.
It's just missing out on the other half of the things going on right now.
Again, I have to be very clear. Like, if we can weaponize, like, if I remember correctly, there was a podcast that was I think it was called The Squanch, and it was about Rick and Morty episodes. And there was one. They had also done movies, and one of the movies they had covered was Get Out. And the idea was, one of the guys brought up the philosophy, I think it was like Afro-pessimism. I'm going to butcher this, but the idea was essentially is that you can't take down the master's house with the master's tools. Now, I'm not going to critique that philosophy because it's not really my place to do so, I feel like. I'm not schooled in it, and I feel like there's better people to do that. But what I want to say is that this idea that we can't use allies as a way, or the people in power to do this, is, I think, not always true. I think there are ways that we can weaponize that stuff to have very real effects. And this is a perfect example of it. Jon Stewart is a respected lib. He's not a hardcore leftist. He's not, he's not like, a fucking streamer. He's absolutely a lib, but he's a lib that many libs respect. His X number of years on The Daily Show have bought him amazing credentials, and he has done nothing to really squander most of it.
Well, and he's got amazing media training. Like, Vosh talks about this a lot. I know we're bringing up Vosh a lot, but sometimes we just got to talk about what the reality of, like, people's training actually is, though. Like, having the media training to do this. No, fuck, I want somebody with that skill set. We need that. That is going to convince people. That is really, really helpful. If we sent somebody up there and they kind of floundered or kind of let her talk too much or, like, didn't really nail the arguments the way that he did. No, his timing was impeccable, right? He had massive amounts of prep work on that, and he nailed it.
Yeah, Tiamat brings up something I saw on YouTube chat, which is, I think a lot of this is from Edmund. I think a lot of the backlash against Stewart comes down to this attitude that allies don't deserve cookies for bare minimum, which I think is ridiculous because Stewart actually would be a good role model for the prospective allies, and there needs to be recognition for that. Edmund, I think we both agree with you. But
yeah.
On top of that, I also want to throw one thing out there. No, give allies fucking cookies. If we only meet allies with fucking cynicism, that's how you lose them.
Well, like, so when I see bare minimum, like if somebody is really like hedging,
they're wearing like a trans pin,
or like they're showing up to PFLAG but they won't actually admit that their own kid is non-binary. Hi, mom. Just saying. Okay, no cookies. But other than that, like, no, give them fucking cookies for trying. Like, goddamn, meet people halfway. Like, seriously. It's not that hard, okay?
How do people not understand basic behaviorism? If you want people to continue doing the behavior you want them to do, then you need to use positive incentives. This don't be a cook, give a cookie for bare minimum is literally against behavioral science.
Also, it works really well with kids, too, and, like, large groups. When you're like, hey, let's actually reward the positive behavior that we see. Let's all participate in that positive behavior. You start encouraging more of it. That's how that goes. We can't
say we're the side of empiricism and say that our enemies live in a cult world when people are just like, I'm going to ignore behaviorism and just be like, yeah, fuck this person for trying. Because that's what it comes down to. That's the message you see on Twitter. Fuck this person for trying. Or this wasn't good enough for me. I don't give a shit. Take your W, fucking swallow it. Because it's not okay. This cannot be the response every time something good comes out on our defense. And we can't keep using the excuse that the trans community is traumatized. Yeah, we're all traumatized. I'm traumatized. Zena's traumatized. All of you are fucking traumatized. We can't keep using that as excuse for shit behavior.
Well, and again, the way we actually heal that trauma, though, is in part taking our W's and recognizing when things aren't going in the traumatic fashion, right? Like, actually admitting when things are not just all horrendous and bad and staying stuck in the trauma. No, you actually have to break out of it at some point.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, you can't keep using the trauma as an excuse for shit behavior. And this is what this is. It's shit behavior. Like, yeah, and then we traumatize ourselves. Because
with that trauma excuse, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, let's look at how Contra was treated. Let's look at how Lindsay Ellis was treated. These are people that are either members of the community or allies, and they were treated like shit because they didn't meet something. Fucking Keffels was gone against because she didn't immediately give all of her GoFundMe to some random person of color's GoFundMe instead of, do the thing that she needs to do. Like, which is pay for her fucking, what I can only imagine, excessive amounts of fucking legal fees, and not to mention moving fees. Marion says, by the way, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. A new book needs to be made if you give a lib a cookie. If you give a lib a cookie, the lib will continue to defend you and not push you into the mass grave. If they don't push you into the mass grave, you continue being alive. End of book.
I mean, I like the end. I like the ending where, like, if you give them a cookie, they come over to your house and you have tea, and then now they're not. And, you know, eventually they find themselves on your side. I like that ending a little better. So. Yeah,
still holding the idea that Jay was weaponizing oppression because she wanted free money. I mean, let me be really clear. The Jay and the Jay orbiters are basically just garbage people. I'm just going to be really clear. I had a miscommunication with one of them, and I'm just going to be really clear. You guys can read into this however you want. I don't believe in fairies. Lack of clapping. Sorry. If you get it, you get it. Moving on. So the fact of the matter is that, like, I cannot keep doing this thing where we keep just shitting on everything good. The world is scary. It is melting. This year's weather has been fucking all over the map.
Yeah.
And fucked with me and Zena's migraine so much we didn't even get to go camping. Because every time we thought of scheduling a weekend, one of us was down for the fucking count. Like, not to mention that, like, COVID is still happening. I know multiple people in our community that have COVID. My partner fucking has COVID, which has pushed them back. My partner from last month, my other partner, also had COVID. I still haven't been able to see them. This shit's still happening. Can we please take a W? Can we please for once take a W and not be cynical bitches? I can't keep doing the cynicism game. I can't keep playing this game where everything's got to be negative or we have to fucking undercut every good thing that happens.
Also, can I be honest? Like, we're not separate from our allies. Like, we're not. Like, when we look at allies, they're not separate. A lot of times these are our best friends, our moms, our dads, our NB parents, our grandparents, right? Like, that's who our allies are. They're people that are close to us, that care. And so no, throwing them under the bus doesn't make any sense. Right?
True.
Like, the allies for kids, a lot of times, like, when their parents are their bestest allies, no, they have the best outcomes. They have the best mental health outcomes. Right? And so it doesn't make sense to keep throwing them under the bus. I know it sucks that not every one of us have had, you know, enough supportive people around us, but damn. Like, whenever we work with, especially when we're working with youth, like, half the time, the thing that I'm doing with youth is hope pilling them. Is just saying you are valid, is being supportive. Because that's what they fucking need. They don't need us to show up and go, this isn't good enough, we'll never have anything. This is just basic journalism. No, they don't fucking need that shit. God damn it. If you don't, like, have a reason for yourself to get your head out of your ass and stop being depressed long enough, like, at least the generation, the kids that come after us, no. Like, I want them to feel good about themselves. I want them to have some hope. Enough hope to keep fucking going. And that's, yeah, I mean, we need that stuff. This is brilliant. And seriously, seeing Laverne Cox again on, like, doing a project like this, like, being part of this is super fucking cool. Because, oh no, back in the day she worked with Katie Couric, right? Katie Couric said something really transphobic on her show, and they decided to air that anyways with an actual apology from Katie Couric so they could, and to my understanding, this was a conclusion reached by the two of them because the episode hadn't aired yet, so they had time to hash this out before the episode aired. And then Katie Couric went along and did a huge documentary called Gender Revelation that came out on National Geographic and went across the country interviewing people. And that was super fucking cool. And I've been using that for years to educate cis people. It was amazing. And that happened, you know, after the stuff with Laverne Cox. Like, no, this shit's super fucking cool. It's helped. It's helped bring people over. It's helped get other support to other trans people. So.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm very emotional right now.
Yeah, I guess I'm just going to say is that what I need everyone to really consider about this, and then we'll kind of move on, is just, oh, there are more interviews? Very nice. We'll have to check those out. What are you pointing to?
Oh, creases. A thing worth noting about the whole Jon Stewart episode,
go ahead.
The interviews were really well done with a pro-trans activist, 2 parents, Chase Stragio, and an endocrinologist. The parents are great, Chase was awesome, and the doctor was solid. No, fuck, I would love to check out more.
No, absolutely. And again, I highly recommend people watch it. I believe it's free online. Again, guys, please take your W's. Like this, if you see this stuff online, push back on it. It's bad. I'm going to be really honest. This is like my best critique. If anyone comes out and says that, like, says something to the effect that, you know, it's not great that a cis man has to talk for us in order for people to hear us. No, it's not great. That's also the most baby town frolic sociology 101 fucking take humanly possible. If you can't come up with something better, something that actually adds to the discourse, all you're doing is just trying to get engagement. My respect for you decreases immensely, because that's what that is. It's easy likes, but not really anything substantive. Like, maybe sometimes we need to use that utility and actually weaponize allies in the proper way, because again, you have to, in order to change the world, you have to accept it as it is, not like it, not want to not change it, but at least understand it. Instead of burying your head in the sand and just playing this weird fucking sociology 101 game. All right? Got anything else?
I think T-Matt, I'll read T-Matt's statement because I think that nails it. It's not great that he's the one who'll get listened to, but the solution here is to help him make it more likely that the ones we want listened to get listened to. Absolutely. Like, yeah, let's keep supporting Jon Stewart and people doing work like him. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right, guys. See you in the next one. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, consider donating to us. You can support us on our website, transgirltherapist.org. You can also help us on our Patreon, link below, or you can become a member here on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching.